Back in 1994, Dr. Bob Breyer mummified a human being. The Egyptology community had questions, and this was apparently the only way to answer some of them. His lecture is rather detailed and contains a lot of photographs that you might not want to see, but they determined several interesting things. Herodotus claimed the brain was pulled out through the nose using a metal hook, but they discovered it was more of a glug 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 kind of deal. Herodotus also claimed they used a stone knife to make the single 3-inch incision through which everything else was removed. Historians assumed that this stone knife was purely ceremonial, but when they tried using this knife, because it resembles a modern skinning knife, they couldn't get it sharp enough. They ended up having to use a flake of obsidian, rendering the ancient text accurate. Two additional questions were answered together. Why does this ancient depiction of mummification have the body up on sawhorses, and do you have to drain the body of fluids before beginning? You do not have to drain the body because having it placed up on these blocks allows you to get the drying agent packed around the underside. Additionally, this makes the later wrapping process easier. They wanted to know how much natron was required. Turns out it's about 400 pounds for a 180-pound body, indicating that mummification may have been more expensive than we thought. Also, they weren't sure if the natron had to go inside the body during this process. It turns out it does. Some ancient texts indicate the body was left to dry for 35 days, but others claim it was left for 4 months. After 35 days drying in the natron, this particular mummy had reduced to 60 pounds, but it was clearly not finished. After an additional 3 months, they found the reason for the discrepancy. After 35 days, the body should be posed and given its initial wrapping because after 4 months, the extremities have become too stiff to articulate. After the full 4 months, the mummy weighed 38 pounds. And this is where the final question was answered. Do Egyptian mummies look the way they do because they're thousands of years old, or because they're Egyptian mummies? The answer is, it's because they're Egyptian mummies. The way the mummies look today is exactly how they would have appeared, even under CAT scan, 2,000 years ago. Over the years, they've continued taking tissue samples and sticking endoscopes into this guy. As of this 2016 publication, everything is still hunky-dory.